What's up, guys? Today we're going to show you which subscription services we use to get the best music for our videos. Plus, we're going to show you a little inside secret on how to get even higher quality music for free, just like what we use in this intro. So stick around.
I'm no good at keeping it together. I'd rather trade up my grace for pleasure. We could start a fire, have a grease fat in your backyard. If the stench is too much, we can move on to another. Let's get reckless. Throw it all away, throw it all away. I can.
As you can see, we had to get a little creative with the whole distancing thing that's been in play here lately. So we've kind of resorted to filming outside or filming alone in our studio, which, as you know, is our apartment. Fortunately for us, we had an independent artist reach out to us and hook us up with that just amazing track. And we're gonna be interviewing them towards the end of this video, so definitely stick around for that. Before we get into that, let's go over the 3 major subscription services that we've checked out, which ones are our favorites, and which ones you might want to read the fine print on. Let's do that now. So the 3 major subscription services we've checked out are Artlist, Storyblocks, which was formerly Audioblocks, it's all one now, that's just changed in the last few days, and then Epidemic Sound. Each of them have their positives and negatives, and we're going to go over that. Artlist was actually the one that stood out to me the most in the beginning. I liked it because it had a bigger audio library, and that really matters when you're looking for quality music. The price is about the same with everyone else, but the downside we actually found with Artlist is you have to pay for a year at a time. And as a new creator, that can be really expensive. You're going to be paying $200 to $300 a year. Right now, they're doing annually $300 a year for music and sound effects. And if you're going to pay for music, you're going to want sound effects too. Or $200 a year for just music. Again, Artlist, in my opinion, has the best quality, but that upfront cost is really big. And remember, you got to pay it again next year. Artlist also has unlimited licensing, which is fantastic. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen once you upload that video, or if later on you want to publish it or use part of a clip that you had cut to the beat of the music for some corporate project. There is no restriction on where you use your music. There is no restriction if you stop paying for the service and you want to use it later. Once you pay for the service, when you download that song, you own it for life. And that's the same with Storyblocks. And that's the second company we're going to look into. Storyblocks is actually the one we use currently the most. They're the most affordable from a month-to-month basis. Right now, if you're a new subscriber, Storyblocks is $15 a month for unlimited audio, which really isn't that bad. For $15, you get some really good tracks, and again, unlimited licensing. You can use the tracks for anything you want, no copyright strikes, and you have them for life. Another great thing, and this applies to Storyblocks and Artlist, is they both offer video services. So if you want to pay a little more, or actually quite a bit more, you can get stock footage for your videos. And right now, when we're all kind of stuck inside and we can't really get out there and film, especially in public places, stock footage is incredibly important. Between the 2 sites, I think Artlist has better music, but I think Storyblocks has better stock footage. And we really only want to pay for one at a time. And the monthly subscription is kind of important to us. We like that. It's just a little more flexible for us financially. So we go with Storyblocks most of the time, and that's kind of who we're sticking with now. Storyblocks is $65 a month for video and music, but that's unlimited on everything with a license for life once you've downloaded it. Artgrid, I believe, is around $500 or $600 a year for video and music, but we've searched their library and looked around a little bit, and it seems like they still have a little catching up to do. They just haven't been around as long as Storyblocks has. The third option, and now this is just for music, is Epidemic Sound. Epidemic Sound has a really good price point. Again, it's $15 a month if you're using it for YouTube. And they offer stems, which allows you to customize the music a little bit. It allows you to kind of pull apart some of the instruments and separate things out. Because sometimes we get those cheesy little notes or hey-hays or whatever in the music, especially the corporate sounding music, and we just want to get rid of that. And I think that's why a lot of YouTubers really like Epidemic Sound. I think it's why it stands out. But there's one thing with Epidemic Sound that you need to understand. When you sign up with Epidemic Sound, you are paying for a license for personal or YouTube use. And right now that is $15 a month. If you want to use it for commercial use, you have to pay for a different license. It's not $15 a month anymore. It's now $49 a month. So that can get really expensive really fast. The other thing in the fine print with Epidemic Sound that we didn't realize is if you stop paying for that subscription service, you can no longer use those songs unless they've already been uploaded. So if you make a new YouTube video with a song you downloaded from Epidemic last year and you upload it after you stop paying that monthly subscription fee, they're going to give you a copyright strike. Or in our case, we had a video that we made and we needed to make a few changes to it. After we made the changes, we re-uploaded that video and we weren't paying for their subscription anymore. Same video, same song, no new editing except for just a little bit of text at the beginning. We got hit with it, they took the video down. So if you read the fine print and you know what you're getting, Epidemic Sound is really great. However, it's not as flexible and you have to pay attention with it. That's why we like Storyblocks or even Artgrid for our music. And again, to us, Storyblocks is the best because all the way around, it's the most flexible and it suits us the best. No matter what subscription service you end up going with, just know that they really are valuable to have in your toolbox. They can give you creative inspiration, they can bring out emotion and different moods in your video, and they are just totally invaluable. There are other free options out there, but I would definitely check out these three services, and I'll leave links below, and I'm going to highly recommend Storyblocks because they're... Oh, what'd she do this time?
Well, that'll keep him busy. Listen, you don't have to use all those services. You could just hit up a local artist. You can find new artists on places like Soundcloud where you can browse tons of genres based on the vibe that you're going for. Once you find some tracks you like, you can hit up those artists on places like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook if you're still into that kind of thing, and see if they want to collaborate. Chances are they're going to want to hear from you, and you won't get anything if you don't ask. So don't get too hung up on those subscription services. And it looks like I'm out of time, so I gotta bail.
Wow. I feel like maybe she's getting a little too much creative inspiration from that song. That's the third time today. All right, so why is this seat so high? It's weird. Anyway, other than subscription services, you can use things like the YouTube library. And YouTube's audio library is pretty great too. It's updated a lot in the last few years and has definitely gotten better than it used to be. It also has sound effects, which are invaluable. You always need different sound effects. Like, you don't really know if the fire alarm was going off, or maybe we got that from the YouTube library. As you get more and more serious, you're probably going to want to move up to a subscription service. You could also check out some of these YouTube channels that supply free music. The thing with those channels, though, you have to remember, you need to always credit the artist, and you have to remember that they may change their policies and YouTube may or may not have it whitelisted. Actually, let's go over a little bit of legal really, really quick. So in the beginning, copyright law doesn't need to be stressful. There's really no reason to get hung up on what Creative Commons license are and what different types of copyrights are when you're early on. Just use some common sense. If you didn't pay for the song, and I'm not talking about I paid $1 on iTunes or whatever it costs now, I'm talking about if you didn't buy the rights to the song, it's not yours. And if that song's not yours, that means you need to be giving someone credit for it, and you need to have their permission. So from a legal side, it's pretty straightforward stuff. If you pay for a subscription service, make sure you read the fine print. We made that mistake with Epidemic Sound. I personally don't care for Epidemic Sound right now, but that might be my fault. Who knows? Maybe we'll use them a lot more later on down the road. Another thing to consider is if you want to use a song that's really, really well known, like something you hear on the radio, which I don't know who listens to the radio anymore, or something you hear on Spotify from a really famous artist. You can, in theory, get those songs for your videos, but it can cost thousands and thousands of dollars and take weeks, months, or even longer to acquire the rights to those songs. It's not like you can just reach out to a major artist and say, hey, what's up? Can I use your song? And they can be like, yeah, sure, no problem. It's more complicated than that. They have to get a hold of record labels and whoever else is involved, whoever wrote the song, because usually it's not just one person. Major music artists tend to have multiple people working with them, and every one of those people are going to want their cut. So it's just really not worth it. So what I would do, especially in the beginning, is stick to things that are legally pretty simple. And that is free libraries like YouTube, paid subscriptions like Storyblocks, or working with independent artists or people that put their music out there for free, and all they ask in return is that you tell everyone who they are, because they're trying to get known too. We're all in this together, so don't get too hung up on the legal. Just make sure you're doing the right thing. So make sure you put something in the description of the video or just follow whatever guidelines it is that they ask for. We're going to go into an interview right now with a couple amazing artists and new friends of ours that made the track from our intro. Now, as you know, it's not a real good idea to hang out in the same room, so this is a Zoom call, plus they're in Philly and we're in Columbus, and it's a really long drive. So we just did a Zoom collaboration, and we're going to show you some highlights from that interview. So mind the quality, but there's some really valuable information in this interview, and these two creators are amazing. So let's check it out. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
It's nice to finally meet you. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, tell us a little about yourselves, and we'll go from there.
I'm Sam Rybred. I'm a songwriter, singer, and I also engineer, so everything you heard on the record, I helped record, mix, master, write music. I'm also a part of a band called The Experiment.
I'm Melvin Durrell, music producer from Philadelphia. I met Sam actually through one of my creative partners, Kyle Sparkman. Kyle and I have been writing a few songs together. We put another song out a few months ago called Homesick. We decided to get together and just work with more artists, and that's kind of how we got involved with working with Sam. And this song is really cool because that was actually my first time meeting Sam, and we made a record within that short period of time. And I think that's kind of special because a lot of times people kind of come together and you're either not really getting that much done, or you come up with some ideas and then you just kind of move on with it.
Right.
And within like the first 20 minutes of us working on something, it turned into this full song.
That's awesome.
That was actually a great experience, I would say. One of my more favorite writing experiences.
Yeah, we hopped right into it.
So it was a very organic song, and I hope that a lot of people kind of get that feeling from it. Nothing in the record was forced at all.
Yeah, it feels like it just kind of smooths right along, and I really enjoyed it. It does seem very organic. How do you interpret it? Why did you write it?
A big inspiration for me was just like the importance of not taking everything in life too seriously, especially how you present yourself to the world too seriously, because you can get caught up in that really quickly. And like, it's okay to like be a bit of a mess and to cause a bit of a mess, but the importance of the outro is like, you still have to be like accountable for yourself and like be a good person.
So no collateral damage.
You say you're in a band called The Experiment?
Yes. We just released our first EP. It's called Foolproof. With that, I'm doing kind of a similar thing where I'm writing a lot, but I'm also like my primary role is engineer. So like recording, mixing, mastering, all that fun stuff.
So everything.
Sam's a workhorse.
Right? That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, it's good, because I think so for us in video, knowing how to edit our own work helps us film, if that makes sense. So I'm sure in the music world, if you kind of understand how it's going to work from the engineering side of things, I'm sure that helps a ton. Like when we're filming something, for example, we're like, is this going to work once we get it on a computer? Is this going to edit nicely, or is this going to look weird, or what's going to happen? And also, are we going to spend hours sorting through footage because 99% of this is terrible? Your guys' music, it's awesome. If somebody's looking for a song from either one of you or from both of you together, how do they go about finding that? How do they get a hold of you? Where do they find your song? When does this song come out? What's that all about?
All of my music is released everywhere, so whatever music streaming platform you're using, you can just search Sam Rybread. It's one word. And my Instagram is @SamRybread. Feel free to just contact me directly through there. Or if you're still on that Facebook game, Sam works too. There aren't necessarily direct downloads unless you're going through Amazon or iTunes, but you can contact me, and if you want to do something use my song for a video, I have no problem sending that your way. And our song comes out today, so feel free to find that wherever. And I'll have a Sam Rybread single coming out in probably a couple of months.
Nice. That's awesome.
So same with me. My music can be found on all streaming platforms. And so my production name is Melvin Durrell. For my website, it's melvindurrell.com. Instagram, Melvin Durrell. Twitter, I don't use it that much, but it's Melvin Durrell. Facebook, the same. So I streamlined it across, so it's very easy to find me on all platforms. And like Sam said, if you want to use anything, I would be more than happy to provide the files that are needed for it. And then also, I just want to give a plug too for Kyle Sparkman, who's the other collaborator on this project as well. His Instagram is Kyle Sparkman, and then his URL for his website is kylesparkman.com. And he has a lot of good tunes, so definitely somebody to check out.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about this type of relationship of sharing music for video, especially with independent artists, is that it's very much so mutually beneficial.
That's the greatest thing for us, because we're trying to collaborate and get that added exposure on other platforms. So I think it's an easy situation once two parties kind of come together and they decide that they have something about it that they can trade with each other.
Like Melvin said, just reach out, because Instagram or any way you can find, because nobody's gonna not want to see that.
Yeah. Why not reach out to somebody that's a little more independent, somebody that's up and coming, that's willing to answer? And I think a lot of people don't, because they're afraid. For example, if I heard your song, let's just pretend I heard your song on Spotify, and I'm man, I really like that song. I probably wouldn't have messaged you guys, because I probably would have thought you wouldn't have answered us, because it's a really good song, right? That's kind of one thing I think people need to get past, that hurdle of just ask. If you don't ask, no one's going to say yes.
Right. That kind of imagined barrier with you guys too. You don't necessarily expect to get a response from emails, you know what I mean? But can't hurt to try.
I guess we'll let you guys get off here. If you have any questions, if you're trying to do the camera stuff, I like to hear from people. It helps us to have people ask us what it is they want to know.
Specifics.
You know what I mean? You're saying you want to do cinematic shots. Feel free to shoot us a message. You got any questions? We might literally make a video about something like that, because we're always looking for creative inspiration on tutorials.
Well, thanks again. Really appreciate it.
We do too.
Yeah, you guys are great. Excited to see the final video.
It's been great talking to you guys.
Yes, it's so
Likewise.
nice meeting you both.
Likewise.